So Freud, this is video part 2 to dissociative amnesia, was the one that came up with repressed memories associated with trauma. But the age-old question is, how do therapists access a memory that a patient has no access to? And hypnotherapy has shown that this can work. There's sensory triggers, so smell, right, olfactory, auditory, visual, taste, touch, tactile, that can trigger a repressed memory. But there is a theory, according to some, that this can create a false memory. That's not a real memory. There is a theory, and I even had a psychiatrist tell me this because I know I've got blocked trauma that I have no access to. I don't remember. And he said, that's a bunch of crap. He's like, that's called false memories. He's like, there's no way to really know if that memory is really correct or not and what you're actually dreaming up in your head based on what you think. And that if a seed has been planted, that the brain will concoct some story of a memory that isn't actually real. You know, and I always thought that was a little strange, but whatever. Now, how is it that people actually do recover repressed memories from dissociative amnesia and trauma, and they can remember the trauma? Because we know we blocked it out, but why does the brain do this? Why does the brain block out memories? Why does it disassociate so badly that you have no access to that memory, right? Memories are stored in the hippocampus, so sort of middle of the brain on the other side of the cerebellum. But it is where our memories and are stored and where short-term memory. So why is it that some people can access this and they can remember stuff and other people block it out? And why some people can retrieve memories and other people can't? So there is a theory, and now the research is pointing in a very positive direction, where there's a drug that can be given in order to go back to the neural pathways that were built during the trauma, and it's the only way to access that memory. So cool. So if we look at the chemical reaction in the brain, so there's a neurotransmitter GABA, and then there's glutamine. Glutamine is released in ample amounts in a traumatic event, and this is what helps store the memory, okay? But it's on fire. It's being, ample amounts are being released. But then we've got GABA, which is another neurotransmitter that calms us down, and there's always a balance, right? They've now discovered another form of GABA that works independently away from the glutamine, okay, and away from the other GABA neurotransmitter. And it is one that creates a neural pathway that the brain hides. So when you're in a moment of trauma and glutamine is firing, it'll store that memory. But if you're in a moment of trauma and that other GABA neurotransmitter is active, it's going to hide the memory in a place that you can't access unless you get yourself back into a state of that neural pathway exactly to remember. Stay tuned for part 3.